welcome to the Master Plan Committee for Ward 3. I'd say I got lost in the way, but I went to the school, so it's kind of hard to say that. If the clerk could please call the roll.
Sean T. Durkee.
Present.
Paul Katz.
Present.
Kathleen B.
Present.
Mayor Jeanette McCarthy. Mr.
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you.
we have a clerk, and the clerk sent all of us minutes of the meeting by email, which I don't have my computer with, but I let them.
Excuse me, Madam President, I need to call the meeting to order.
Sorry. I'm sorry, my apologies.
So I'd like to call the meeting to order. The time is now 7:33. Thank you for calling the roll. And we do have meeting minutes from Tuesday, September 27th, and then also Thursday, October 6th, and the 27th is from Ward 8 and 9, and October 6th is from Ward 5 and Ward 6. And
I make a motion to approve all those minutes.
there's a motion on the floor to accept the meeting minutes as read. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have them. Those have been approved. Good evening. I'm Waltham City Councilor Randy LeBlanc, Chair of the Waltham Council Ad Hoc Master Plan Committee. And this evening, I believe in the audience, we have a few city councilors. If they could stand, I see State Rep Tom Stanley. I see Kathy Ann Harris. Thank you for attending this evening. And is George Darcy here? Councilor Darcy? Councilor Darcy's in the back. With me tonight are councilors Paul Katz, Ward 7, Sean Durkee, Ward 6, Kathleen B. McMinimum, the council president, and ex officio Mayor Jeanette McCarthy. And we have support from the housing director, Bob Waters, and his team. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to listen to the citizens of Ward 3 and to take your input and ideas. There will be other meetings scheduled to listen to the citizens in other wards. The master plan booklet can be found on the city's website under the planning department since 2007. Our city's final master plan will revolve around 9 elements: goals and policies, land use, housing, economic development, natural and cultural resources, open space and recreation, service and facilities, circulation, and implementation. Our meeting tonight is to listen and take your input. May we have a show of hands of how many people will be speaking this evening? All right, thank you, and hopefully everyone signed in. We have a few ground rules to hear input from everyone. Each speaker will have a limit of 3 minutes, and at the end of the 3 minutes, I will let you know you have 20 seconds to finish your thought. Each speaker will provide your name and legal address for the record. All testimony being put forward in writing from those not present will be turned into the committee secretary to be entered into the record. In essence of time, not all of those will be read this evening. All statements provided must have contact information so we can confirm directly that the statement was received and entered. Also, I would like to reiterate, this is not a question and answer session, it's a citizens input hearing, so we welcome your input to be compiled at a later date. Each speaker will focus on the 9 elements I have outlined. After all members of the public who wish to give input are finished, the committee will hear input from the Ward 3 councilor. Could the chair please call Councilor Vidal?
Councilor Vidal?
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, let's start with our first speaker. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Daniel Sari. I live at 40 Copley Ave. Hello, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to give public input, an opportunity that does not come often enough in Waltham. The first thing I'd like to talk about is housing. The housing prices of single-family housing in Waltham have already skyrocketed to the point where our children will never be able to afford to buy houses in the neighborhoods they grew up in. As a resident of Ward 3, I am in favor of more multi-family zoning and would love it if my neighborhood was rezoned in such a way that allowed us to have this as well as local shops like coffee shops and corner stores. Another issue is pedestrianizing Waltham. Moody's Street Market has been an amazing experiment, and we should make it permanent and year-round like Church Street in Burlington, Vermont. Waltham also needs bike infrastructure. It needs to focus on public transit and make walking safer for folks walking down the street. I fear for the safety of any children trying to bike beyond their cloistered neighborhoods in Ward 3. The Mass Central Rail Trail is planned to pass right by us, but to get to it, our families would have to bike shoulder to shoulder with traffic. Trapella desperately needs protected, separated bike lane to connect us with the rest of the bike infrastructure being planned in the region. Additionally, we need to extend Bus 73 up Trapella. There is no reason North Waltham needs to be a car-dependent suburb. Moving on. COVID-19 is a real and ongoing crisis in this country, and I'm horrified at the lack of regard our city has had for the young, the elderly, and the immune-compromised. Thank you for the call. We need to create standards for air quality in all buildings open to the public and hold landowners who have seen their investments soar in value over the last few years responsible for making upgrades to meet these standards. Air filtration is a cheap and effective way to fight COVID, even if we are unwilling to even ask people to do the simple task of putting on a mask to protect the vulnerable. The schools in particular have suffered during the pandemic, and I'm extremely disappointed at the lack of support the city is giving our educators. The negotiations of the contract are still ongoing, and I have never seen them be more bitter. Why does the city government hold such animosity towards our schools and teachers? They deserve a better contract, and we will be there to support them, even if you do not. Finally, the rec department's plan for Fernald is amazingly insensitive and insulting. I was there at the public input hearing on the use of the property, and an overwhelming number of residents said to do nothing but to simply open the land to the public for use, maybe add a few walking trails and signage discussing the history of the site. A majority of the amenities proposed to the site replicate amenities that can be found less than a 2-minute drive from this location, which is an astounding waste of money considering that the location is only accessible by car. This money could be used to tackle our housing crisis, but instead will be used to create a playground for the wealthiest citizens of Waltham at a location that has perhaps some of the darkest history in the state. I call for the city to remove this parcel from control of the rec department immediately so we can avoid spending money on defacing the site further and save future generations from the apologies we will have to make for this plan. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Next speaker, please. Good evening.
Thank you. Hi, I'm David Wood. I live at 69 Mallard Way, Waltham. I'm also here to harp on bicycle infrastructure, a little more specifically. In short, I'm here to advocate for separated bicycle lanes. I'm not talking about bicycle-shaped road stencils. Nobody respects those. I'm also not asking for a painted lane. People park in those, road debris and snow collects in those. Not a good solution. Even I get agitated when sharing a road lane with a bicycle. I feel the exact opposite way when I'm on a bike sharing it with cars. These two forms of transport require different infrastructure, and forcing them onto the same lane is silly and dangerous. Here are some reasons why I think Waltham is a great candidate for a bikeway network. Category 1, we already have a partial network. The Charles River Trail, which I used to be able to commute by, is wonderful, cuts right across town, connects much of the busiest part of town. The upcoming Wayside Trail nicely ties together the middle of town from east to west, and the Western Greenway does a pretty decent job of paralleling parts of Trapella Road and Lexington Street. Category 2, we have a strong ridership base to pull from. So why build it if nobody's going to use it? We've got 2 sizable college campuses right in town. lots of young people who often don't have cars. Closely related to that, Moody and Main Street have a lively restaurant and bar scene. Car-free Moody Street dovetails extra well with this one. I think everyone who's seen that in action knows how awesome that is to have a walkable, bikeable area. Commuter rail stations, we've got 2.5. I say half because the one in Belmont is right on the border. These are designed and operated to offset car traffic, and what's sillier than driving a car to take the train somewhere. There's all this tech-leaning commercial development at the former Polaroid campus, which up until this point has been a great example of how gross car-dependent design can be. The new high school, it's on a busy road. It's got narrow sidewalks. It's right next to a 3 or 4 lane highway called Lexington Street. And yeah, I can already see the line of SUVs parked up front waiting to drop off kids who missed the bus. A bikeway would be an excellent alternative to that. The New England Youth Cycling has a strong member base in Waltham. If you're not familiar, it's roughly 1,000 kids and a race league in New England. They practice a lot in the Greenway, and giving them more areas to practice in would be a great thing to do. Motivators. This dovetails nicely with the stated goals of the committee. Social equity. Cars are a huge drain on personal finances. Those who can't drive often cycle. Bus lanes are sparse and tricky to navigate, so this is a great alternative. Environmental responsibility. It's pretty self-explanatory. Convenience. Most people have a bike. It's faster than the bus, it's cheaper, more eco-conscious, and you don't have to go to the gym. Thank you. Also safety. MassDOT accident map shows hotspots on Lexington, Moody, and Maine. So, in closing, if you build dedicated bicycle infrastructure along the main roads in Waltham, it will reduce car traffic, increase transit ridership, save your constituents money, improve their health, save the environment, bring people together, enrich the community, and almost certainly save a few lives. Thank you.
I also forgot, if anyone is filming this, could you state your name and residential address for the record?
Sure, can I say?
Thank you.
Chris Hammer, 190 Adams Street.
And Jane Frutellis, 19 Gorham Street.
Thank you.
Marie Daly, 10 Gordon Road. I lived here in Waltham. Marie Daly, 10 Porter Road, Waltham. I've lived here in Waltham since 1950, although I am a breezer. So I have also been active and witnessed many bad plans for North Waltham, including a sludge processing plant, and corporate office center for the former Met State. And Waltham was successful in fending off those ideas, thanks to Mayor McCarthy, George Darcy, and Kathy McMenamin, and others that were involved in the process. So, and I enjoy the wonderful park that's there every single day, Mackerel Hill and the Beaverbrook North Reservation. So people tell us that we were lucky to have that. Luck had nothing to do with it. We fought tooth and nail for that land, and we were successful. So Waltham should support what I think is Waltham should support the renovation and rehabilitation of older homes for affordable housing. Waltham now has the 3rd highest rents in the Commonwealth, following only Boston and Cambridge. These high rents have been partially due to the recent construction of large luxury apartment complexes. We also see the replacement of older affordable homes with newly built and more expensive residences. I think that Waltham should impose permanent conservation restrictions on CPA-funded open space acquisitions as required by law, and also CRs on other municipally owned open space parcels. If these parcels are not protected, Waltham may lose opportunities for state grants, and also we may lose some of these other parcels in the future, such as, and I'll give an example, as Waltham Woods, that was threatened with development in the past. I think we should advocate for increased MBTA services in underserved areas, such as North Waltham, and participate in local transportation initiatives to fill in service gaps. And again, I agree that we should push to extend Route 73 from Waverly Square up Trapella Road. I think we should incorporate more passive recreation pocket parks and tree coverage in the densely populated neighborhoods of Waltham. We are fortunate here that we have so many parks and trees, but the other side of the city is a heat island, and they have very few. So many of the existing parks have little tree coverage and a lot of paved surfaces to accommodate cars and playing surfaces. I think we should develop and implement a plan to increase trees in neighborhoods that are heat islands, such as the Chemistry District, Bleachery, and the South Side. We should provide incentives to homeowners and developers to save the existing healthy trees and to add trees on their private properties. And I think we should consider establishing an urban forest on small city-owned parcels in densely populated neighborhoods. This has been done in Cambridge and implemented on a 5,000 square foot lot. And the other thing is, I think we should preserve the historic stone walls on municipally owned land, and by increasing the penalties for it, which are currently only $10. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Back on again. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. My name's Bill Hanley. I'm at 62 Candlewood Drive. I lived in Ward 3 as a kid. Now I'm back as an adult, with my own 2 kids. And in the last 2 years, I've noticed traffic enforcement would go a long way. People fly up and down Trapella Road. I've noticed it, and there's also a lot of walkers and bicycles, not only kids, but adults, up and down that road as they go into Lincoln through the bike trails in there. A lot of bike traffic. It's mostly single-family neighborhoods. I'd love to see it stay that way. Purposely bought a house where I'm at, and that was a big reason why. Gravesend Park was redone recently and was done really, really well. Gets a lot of mileage, a lot of traffic, and the 2 crosswalks at Gravesend Park could use those flashing lights that I've seen in the downtown area. People take their lives into their own hands on that busy Trapella Road. Our youth sports in Waltham are really healthy, and our parks also get a lot of use. Parks in Waltham, kind of my number one. I hate to say it. They're all really, really have been well done over the years. Obviously, I've had 2 little kids who spent a lot of time at them. But park maintenance is understaffed. They can't keep up week to week. I feel like a master plan should have a maintenance plan and staffing plan, and that's kind of the theme of what I'm gonna say. Most of our city buildings and schools are showing their age and disrepair. We're an old city. Infrastructure would be a big investment. And we have a new high school opening fairly soon, which will be the gem of the city. I hate to see in 2 years we need a new HVAC system or some other big spend because we didn't do preventive maintenance. We drastically need a new police headquarters. My grandfather died 30 years ago, and before that he worked for 30 years in that building. So I don't see how it supports 21st century policing and community services. I think it's long overdue. And lastly, to talk back about our staffing in the city. A lot of my business, you lose staff, you lose money. And 3/4 of a point for our teachers just isn't gonna cut it. We're losing people, and then we have that high school, and we'll lose even more. So thank you for your time, thank you for holding these meetings.
Next speaker, please. Welcome. Make sure you sign the line.
Okay, can you hear me? Great. My name is Genevieve Tavera, and I live in 158 Marguerite Avenue, Ward 3. And I'm here without a voice, but I just want to advocate for more affordable housing in this part of Waltham. It's incredible for me to have to assist many of my neighbors with food, with fuel assistance and stuff like that, because they don't have enough. So what I want to see in this new master plan is a way that we can come up with a solution for more affordable housing. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for holding this meeting. 2 quick points to pick up on the last speaker's comments. I'd really like to see changes to zoning to allow accessory units in single-family houses. Sure, Paul Wilbur, 65 Circle Drive, I'm very sorry. I think that appropriately designed or just managed accessory units in single-family homes will open up a wealth of affordable housing options in the city of Waltham, especially for younger people starting out and for older people who are needing an affordable place to live. But accessory units, I think, would really expand the amount of housing in Waltham. And second point is you talking about master plans. There have been a large percentage of people in Waltham begging for a master plan for Fernald School, and none has been put forth. That property is sitting there for probably 10 years, 15 years since it was purchased from the state, with no master plan, no real vision of what that property will bring to the city of Waltham. This ad hoc, well, this department will do this with it, and that department will do something else with this portion. The Fernald needs its own standalone master plan, so that project is not wasted. Thank you very much. Paul Wilbur,
What number circle?
65.
Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Do we have any other speakers? Seeing none, oh, one more. Welcome.
Sonia Wadman, 240 Beaver Street. The Waltham Land Trust is pleased with the City of Waltham and seeking community input as it updates and combines its current master plans. Our Board of Directors and 360 dues-paying members, along with hundreds of supporters, many in Ward 3, demand that the new City of Waltham master plan recognize the reality of climate change by preserving all open space in the city, regardless of size, and making permanent protection of open space a priority by placing conservation restrictions, CRs, on land acquired by the city for open space, and legally required when Community Preservation Act funds have been used. In Ward 3, the WLT urges the City of Waltham to purchase the land for sale it is considering on the corner of Trapella and Brook Roads. The 3.1-acre property is part of Phase 2 of the Hardy Pond Conservation Area, all aspects of which the WLT strongly urges the city to implement. We also encourage the city to support and initiate creating a small park at the end of Shore Road, the design of which was facilitated by the WLT with input from the neighborhood and grant funding, and which has been shared with various city departments and commissions. As for conservation restrictions, the Waltham Land Trust continues to wait for the next iterations of CRs to be drafted and sent to the City of Waltham's lot apartment for 2 parcels purchased with Community Preservation Act funding. 385 Trapella Road, a historic property with colonial stone walls, a water well, and a lovely hillside on one side and parking for Elsie Turner Field on the other, was purchased on November 11, 2012. In 2014, at the city's request, after urging from the WLT submitted a draft based on the Massachusetts Model CR. The lot apartment removed large sections of the draft, despite these sections being required by the state. Since that time, the WLT has submitted revised drafts based on advice from the state's CR reviewer, but the law department has not responded to any version. The last version, submitted a year ago, was based on a draft the mayor submitted to the city council for the 6-acre parcel on the Coleman-Stanton property. We have heard nothing in response. The same can be disappointingly said about the small property at the end of Arcadia Avenue. This 0.13 acre lot of abutting conservation land was purchased by the city at roughly the same time as 385 Trapella. In 2014, the WLT was asked by the city to hold the conservation restriction, and we started drafting the document. Negotiations concerning the text of the CR stopped in 2016. It is time for the law department to respond to the drafts on the Trapella Road and Arcadia Avenue properties. It is also time for the city to find holders for the remaining properties purchased with CPA funds and to put conservation restrictions in place. Thank you.
Can you state your residential address for the record?
240 Beaver Street.
Our residential address.
113 Rose Street.
Thank you for your input. Welcome.
I'm Scott Brother from 99 Circle Drive. That work?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Scott Cronenberg from 99 Circle Drive. I respectively request the City Council and the Mayor select the public portion of Circle Drive to be resurfaced next year and calendar year 2023 using the state's annual Chapter 90 funds. Circle Drive is one of the worst roads in the city. It's been decades since it's been resurfaced. There's over 60 houses that go along this road, and it connects several public roads. Kids use it to get to Northeast Elementary School, etc. And the damaged street is in such bad repair, it has damaged street sweepers and snowplows. We put together a petition and have 40 signatures from the neighbors of the area. And the next speaker will read that petition to you. May I present Anna Cronenberg from 99 Circle Drive.
Hello, I am Anna Cronenberg from 99 Circle Drive. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. As Scott has mentioned, we put together a petition to request to resurface our road. And I don't know if this is the right language, not to just resurface to patch it up, but to do it correctly with, I don't know the exact terms. I would like to read the petition, and I just wanted you to pay the attention that we started collecting signatures yesterday, and just yesterday and today we've collected 45, and we have not even been to all the houses. We, the residents of the public portion of the roadway known as Circle Drive, from number 16 through 99 in the city of Waltham, Ward 3, hereby petition our city council and mayor to resurface Circle Drive as soon as possible. Over 60 houses on Circle Drive and the abutting streets are affected by its poor condition. The residents who have lived here almost 40 years have seen it paved only once. It is long overdue. At present, our street is in horrible condition. It is very uneven with trenches and lots of potholes. We have to slow down significantly to drive around all these road deficiencies. It is not a safe road, especially for our younger kids to walk, to bike on, or for strollers to ride on. We have some babies on the street. There are parts that are missing sidewalks, and some of our children use the street to walk to Northeast Elementary School, which is here. Circle Drive connects to or crosses 3 other public roads, which is Trapella Road, a major road in town, Hobbs Road that leads to Northeast Elementary, and Doty Street that also leads to Northeast Elementary School. It is used when traffic needs to be redirected from Trapella Road due to some road repairs or an accident on Trapella Road. However, the city has been ignoring this road for years as it continues to deteriorate. We have even witnessed, as Scott has mentioned, street sweeper and snowplow being broken on Circle Drive due to hazards on the road. We pay taxes just like those who live on other well-maintained public roads in the city and expect all roads to be in drivable condition. We demand our city to take the responsibility and pave our road as soon as possible. And I just wanted to add, it's not on the petition, but I wanted to add that we live in a wonderful neighborhood. We have amazing people, and we have a lot of people from the professions that have professions that serve other people. We have a few teachers, nurses, police officers, psychologists, and we serve people every day. We take care of people every day. When is our city going to take care of us? Thank you.
Your input. Next speaker. Welcome.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Delayed reaction.
Oh, it's delayed? Okay, I got it. All right, I can hear it. So, my name is Barbara Jacobs, and I live on 15 Outlook Road, up here off of Trapella Road. I'm a cyclist, and I'm a pedestrian, along with being a resident of Waltham for over 25 years. Sorry, I said I was a resident, a cyclist, pedestrian, and a resident of Waltham for over 25 years. I want to talk, I'm not going to talk about bike lanes or whatever, because that's already been taken care of. Pedestrian safety on Trapella Road is a disgrace. Even at a crosswalk, you cannot get people to stop when you're standing there. I have to scream. And I live at the top of that hill with a flashing light. And I have to scream and tell people that they're at a crosswalk to get them to stop, if they'll stop. The infrastructure, we had new sidewalks put in 2 years ago, and then they had to be redone the next year. I don't know if anyone here has walked on them, but they are full of holes, especially at Resurfacing Park. They're disgraceful. They're falling apart. They've only been there for 2 years. Communication of issues. I know that at times they have to detour cars around. We had an incident of a water main breaking on Trapella Road up near Pheasant Street, and they redirected cars. It was at night, and then the next day on Pheasant to Hillcrest to Outlook. I can't tell you how many people came through our roads, both ways. These narrow roads, cars were coming through the hours. We could barely get out of our driveways. And we were not told about it. I know at night you can't deal with it, on a Saturday night or a Friday night, but during the day, there's no reason why we as abutters should not be told about that. At least those of us who have phone numbers and stuff with the city. Okay, so that's my main things.
Thank you for your input. Welcome.
Name is Eric Vaness.
My name is Erin Vaness. I live at 17 Circle Drive. I just want to speak a moment more about Trapella Road. We just were lucky enough to purchase my mother-in-law's house there. She lived there for over 65 years and never had a sidewalk in front of her house. At one point, she had a peddler who came by and she paid someone to put down an asphalt sidewalk from Waverly Oaks to Lexington Street. I have 3 dogs. I try to walk them every day. And if I had to do it on Trapella Road, I would be killed because the sidewalks are only partially done, and you have to cross, as people said, Trapella Highway to get to the other side of the street to walk a further distance and then go back again. Trapella Road is ridiculous. It is a main street in Waltham and should have sidewalks on both sides of the road and concrete sidewalks. Thank you very much.
Do we have any other speakers this evening? Welcome.
Mask. Can people hear me? Oh yeah, there we go. Thank you for holding the meeting tonight and working on the master plan. I'm Betty McKenzie. I live at 23 Pinedale Road, across from Graverson Park. So I thought many good points were made tonight that I agree with. And I wanted to also, so I'll voice my additional support for improved bicycle infrastructure, improving the bus 33 going to Lexington, even though I know that's in the hands probably of the MBTA, but we hope to influence that. The housing prices, as we all know, are just obscene. And I think that a plan, that really addresses many different aspects. There's no one thing like multifamily housing or adding units to single-family housing that will help, but we could begin to do all of those things. Perhaps setting the number of teardowns that can happen. They're happening all over our neighborhood, and I know that other towns have implemented a set number, like 20 per year, that might help keep some of the older and more affordable housing in place. I echo, I'm living right across from Graverson, which we love. We call it Park TV. And we feel very fortunate to be there. We use it ourselves, but it is true that in what I've seen, that they could use more help. We need a larger budget for just maintenance, not simply capital infrastructure. And the people we have worked with the rec department are fabulous, and the CPW. We need more of them. I'm also very much in favor of maintaining and protecting the open space that we have. The CRs for the property that was bought with CPC funds, we all know is long overdue and is, we're flaunting state law by not putting that in place. It's really, we don't want to have another situation come up where all of a sudden it's like the train whistle and we didn't know anything about this. No, we do know about this, and it's straightforward what needs to happen to protect our property. I think that I'm really encouraged to see, as I live near Hardy Pond, the amount of work that's been done on stormwater thinking and infrastructure in the environment as climate change worsens the storms. We all see that. And so anything we can be doing to support that work, the work of the city engineer, Bob Wynn, has been fantastic, and I applaud that. And we need to put in more trees as well. You put in a certain number of trees, in some areas, and it's pretty clear that you're lowering the temperature in that area, the ambient temperature by 5 to 10 degrees. It's significant. We're fortunate in North Waltham, but we want to keep what we have, and I certainly would hope that other areas that are heat islands can be protected. Thank you. Thanks, committee.
Thank you for your input. We have another speaker. Welcome.
My name is Thomas. I live in 101 Fox Road for the past 30 years. One request I have is we do not have a decent meeting place for the people. I used the available one in the one we have, but it lacks a lot of basic amenities with all the setup, audio, video, or any of those things. Considering every fifth person is going through some mental health issues or many challenges, a community would like to educate the families, any community-based education or faith-based education. It will be a great way to help and support the growing community, especially the immigrants in this area. Lacks a lot of knowledge and information that is survived. They may have a great job or they may have a lot of other things, but what lacks is the new people who are landing from different nations and places sometimes lack the community support or taking care of their own children because the new environment. I know that people are doing all kinds of things, but a great community center where you can, any kind of gathering can be conducted, as long as we develop families, strengthen families, and it will be an asset for the community. I really appreciate this effort in the past few years for the new park and a lot of feedback from the community. Likewise, I think if you can arrange in the new plan a great community center with the audio video setup and all, it will be a great feature for the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are you able to repeat your name and address again? I didn't catch it.
Thomas Idikula, 101 Hawks Road.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your input. If we have no other speakers at this time, Councilor Merrill would like to read a statement from a constituent.
Hello? Yes. This was sent to me today and asked, because she could not be here tonight, and we could not be at the meeting tomorrow night, which is being held at 200 Smith Street, that this be read into the record. Dear Council President McMiniman and Master Plan Committee Chair LeBlanc, along with the members of the Master Plan Committee and City Council members. My name is Kate Moriarty, and my husband Michael and I reside on Herson Way across from the Post, which is formerly the post office property. We are submitting our concerns in writing as we are unable to attend this evening's meeting due to our work schedules and childcare. My husband and I do want to express our strong opposition to a proposal by King Street Properties for 200 Smith Street, referred to as the Post. This is the second proposal within a year to this property, and the proposal initiated last year at this time was initially withdrawn with prejudice by the Zoning Board of Appeals this past spring. Due to technicality, the initial vote made by the ZBA chair was dismissed, and a second vote was taken, and the original proposal was withdrawn, I'm repeating myself, without prejudice, with majority vote made by the zoning board's chair. A new proposal for a variance change to the same property is being brought before the ZBA on Tuesday, October 25th. This is requiring all the neighbors to again attend meetings in opposition of this variance. It will mark the third time in our 10 years of residence in this neighborhood where we have had to attend meeting after meeting after meeting to oppose another project at this property. The property at 200 Smith Street has a long history of asking for variances of the zoning board and have received permission to further build at this property. As neighbors, we have had enough of the building. We have had enough of the numerous property owners and their neighborhood meetings to win us over and gain our approval to further build on the property. We do not agree and have not agreed to further development, but we have been outvoted by the ZBA. The building and development of this property needs to stop. We respectfully ask this committee to please support the long-term residents of the neighborhood in our opposition. 2 neighbors are currently selling their homes as a result of this ongoing building at the site. Our neighborhood has had to unsuccessfully oppose and eventually endure previous projects and construction at this location. We have had enough development. The current layout of the property has taken away our sound barrier to both the highway and the buildings on the property. Property owners agreed to provide another sound barrier but have declined to commit to exactly what type. The current proposal would allow variances to build closer to the neighbors, and significant removal of trees is something we adamantly oppose, as we do not want to see or hear this property. We want our neighborhood to remain a place where our children can play outside without constant construction noise during building and later constant noise of truck deliveries, as this new proposal creates loading docks on both sides of the new building. As neighbors, we have compromised with previous projects when we did not want to compromise at all. As it is, the current setup of the south exit of the property creates hazard traffic patterns that were outlined differently to us. Cars are taking a left turn into 2 oncoming directions of traffic, and this was not supposed to happen. We brought this up at our first neighborhood meeting with the King Street properties, and they listened, and within a week, there were maintenance crews painting lines to reinforce the incorrect traffic patterns we had brought to their attention. The exit should not be used for left turnouts, especially when there is a bus stop for elementary, middle, and high school students in Waltham directly across the street. This is just one example of how this property affects our daily lives. We are lifelong residents of Waltham. We ask that this proposal be stopped with the zoning board with the consideration of the insurmountable compromises that we, the neighbors, have given dating back to when Honeywell occupied the property. My husband and I were not living in the neighborhood at the time, but we were in the city, and clearly the historical significance of the residents of the neighborhood providing compromise after compromise to various projects should be respectfully considered by the council members and by your master plan committee in the decisions to move forward. Enough is enough. We respectfully ask that the support of your committee to oppose this project in full for the betterment of the neighbors and residents. Respectfully, Kate and Michael Moriarty, 14 Herson Way. This is being read into the record and submitted as part of the minutes of this meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Councilor. Does anyone else wish to speak this evening? Seeing none, I now turn the meeting over to Councilor Darcy. Councilor Darcy, you have the floor, the Ward 3 Councilor.
Thank you so much for having this meeting. Thank you for everyone. I think I counted 58 people here this evening. I want to read 2 items into the record. One from Denise Zuppi at 12 Albemarle Road. She states, just don't let any high-rise apartments go into the Lawrence School area. Next is from Thomas Case at 58 Albemarle Road. As a 36-year resident and homeowner on Albemarle Road, it is encouraging and exciting to see progress in developing the property into something that can be genuinely beneficial to and enjoyed by the residents of the neighborhood and beyond. He's speaking about the firm. My comments with having a very brief time to review the proposed plan for the 112 acres are, it seems like a very, very ambitious plan with many wonderful ideas, but almost too ambitious in many senses. How would the Recreation Department be able to manage all of the facilities, grounds, and events, amphitheater, disc golf, mini golf, tennis, pickleball? Living off Trapella Road, I would be concerned about the additional traffic this would drive to the property. Since Trapella was repaved in recent years and with the advent of traffic apps like Waze, it has become a race course and B, an alternative access to Route 2 into the city. Traffic volumes are already up significantly. Please take into consideration when placing access, egress points, and parking in particular. More important to me is to retain as much of the open space as possible, especially on the Trapella Road side where the open fields already exist. Now with the Schreiber building gone, it is easy to imagine a continuous area of open space left for the public to enjoy. The train ride seems frivolous and unnecessary as proposed, along with the mini golf and splash park. It seems like they could be better placed near the other activity areas. Leave the open space for picnicking, frisbee, and other unstructured recreation. I understand this could be an opportunity to connect the Western Greenway through the property. That would be fantastic. Looking beyond the phase of development, which again, I am excited in general to see begin, I want to restate what I have addressed to the City Council in the past, as it might now relate to other parts of the property to be later developed. I am adamantly opposed to the potential move of the CPW to any part of the Fernald. With regards, Tom Case.
Thank you very much, Councilor. And I would like to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Oh, you're still going? I'm sorry, my apologies. Continue.
Can you hear me? Okay. I'd just like to thank everyone again for coming here, and I'd just like to go over some brief activities and projects in Ward 3 to apprise you of what's happening. The Waverly Oaks Road and Trapella intersection is being rebuilt. There's a new culvert coming underneath, and there's new utility lines, so there's multiple projects that will happen probably next year. The street resurfacing, I support the resurfacing of both the public portion of Circle Drive, Abbott Road, and Greer Street. And I have submitted Abbott Road for a number of years. It's a main roadway to access the Northeast School. There are many other roadways in North Waltham that need resurfacing, but these three need it the best. And I just want to inform you that we are, through the mayor and the council, resurfacing Temple Road, and Woburn Street has received its first coat. The next coat will be either this fall or the spring. New sidewalk installation. We have lobbied for sidewalks where none exist on Lincoln Street from Pizzy Farms to Smith Street, and from Smith Street from Wyman Street to the Lexington town line. The mayor has supported the Lincoln Street sidewalks. We're just waiting for those to be funded. I also support Trapella Road sidewalks in the area of Sherwood Lane all the way down to Marguerite Avenue where there are none. And as I think Barbara mentioned, the Trapella Road sidewalks along Graveston Park that were recently installed several years ago are crumbling. So they were not installed correctly. Separate and safe bike path and pedestrian paths. I submitted a resolution at the last meeting for these separate and safe paths from Lexington, along Lexington Street from Trapella Road to the Mass Central Rail Trail. There would be 3 segments from Trapella Road to Jack's Way, from Jack's Way to Beaver Street, and from Beaver Street to the Central Mass Rail Trail. And half of the land is already owned by the city of Waltham, so this could be done with minimal cost to the taxpayer. That matter is currently tabled in the Public Works and Public Safety Committee, of which Chair LeBlanc is the chair of that committee too. I haven't yet submitted, but I will submit shortly, a proposal for safe and separate bike and pedestrian paths along Trapella Road from Lexington Street all the way to the Fernald. And this will not be along Trapella Road. This will be along Lot 1, in the Wellington site, crossing Woburn Street to Met State, and crossing from Met State to the National Archives in the Fernald. So you'll be able to bike from Lexington Street all the way to the end of the Fernald, separate, not on Trapella Road. Again, that land is owned by us. There's no reason why we can't implement that as soon as possible. The only thing that we would have to get permission would be from the National Archives, which I think they would agree to. Wellington Field, we've, the volunteers from the Land Trust and other groups and neighbors and corporations have been restoring Wellington Field, the 6-acre parcel that we won by a lawsuit back several years ago, to restore it to be a farm field and a fruit orchard. We hope that the orchard will be like Lexington, where you can pick, as a resident of Waltham, you can go and pick your apples, your peaches, your cherries for free during the autumn. And that would be on the hill. And then the flat 5-acre portion will be some type of farm fields for Waltham squash or pumpkins or a combination thereof, maybe some wildflower fields. We recently put 800 pounds of cover crops, rye, vetch, and crimson clover, just to stabilize the soils and to enrich the soils. So for next year, if we do that farming, it will go well. Betty McKenzie that spoke was instrumental in that. Intersections. The city, through the mayor and the city council, are investigating new traffic signal installations at Woburn Street and Trapella, and Clock Tower Drive in Trapella. And if you drive Trapella, you know you can't come out of those intersections during rush hour. Regarding the Fernald, I support the reserving the fields along Trapella Road in their natural state because of the beauty, including Owl Hill for sledding, and the Donald Field for general recreational use, i.e. not dedicated, so that the residents of Lawrence School can go over and play frisbee, football, fly a kite with their children or their grandchildren. They've done that for 130 years with the Fernald students, and that should be continued. The Lawrence School neighborhood does not have a field of their own. That was the field that they've been using for 130 years. Installation of the Western Greenway from Beaverbrook North to the Mass Central Rail Trail through the Fernald. Preservation of the disability walking path through the oak forest next to Malone Park. This is a concrete disability path next to Malone Park that goes through an old growth, maybe a 100-year oak forest. That needs to be revitalized so that it can be used. Currently, the current plan shows that to be disc golf. I think there's plenty of space with 196 acres to put disc golf somewhere else, and we need to preserve that site for the disability path, which is there existing. Malone Park as a wildflower meadow. The current proposal is for a golf driving range, and I think it's inappropriate. It's next to the Bentley Dorms, Gann Academy, and the Eastern Massachusetts Girl Scouts. And I don't think Girl Scouts from Boston coming out for a weekend in the summer need to hear golf balls from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. There's, again, 196 acres at the Fernald. There's plenty of space for a driving range. It need not be next to the Girl Scouts. They've been good neighbors for many, many years, and they service a lot of the intercity children. Obviously, I'm opposed to relocating the CPW to Fernald. We need to locate the CPW in an industrial or commercial zone, perhaps past 128. The city should be investigating a parcel to purchase on 2nd Ave, Bear Hill Road, West Street, to locate the CPW facility. We don't want to transport it from Ward 6, with its existing problems, which we heard about, to be adjacent to Wards 3 and 4. And again, to what Thomas, my neighbor, stated, a civic and community place. We have Howe Hall at the Fernald on Cherry Street, which is very appropriate for such a meeting place to be open to all residents of Waltham. For the Hardy Pond residents, when Gravison Park was renovated, and they did a wonderful job, Green Acres, who the mayor has had many projects with have done a wonderful job, but unfortunately, they deposited 2,500 cubic yards of fill on the eastern section of Gravison Park. So they elevated the topography by about 4 feet. 2,500 cubic yards of fill equates to 500,000 gallons of storm water. And the people of Hardy Pond Road, Grove Road, Mead Road, and Plant Road have already experienced flooding in their basements. So I'm asking in compensation that the city acquire a lot that's for sale now on 1 Brook Road for some compensation to accommodate for the loss of flood storage volume at the Gravison Playground. We recently had 27 streets that had no parking signs installed, and I have received so many emails from so many people opposed to the installation. These are neighborhoods that are 75 years old, dated from 1940, 1950. And all of a sudden, 2022, the city decides that there should be no parking signs strewn everywhere, and it's mostly in Glen Meadow West. That's where the bulk of all these streets are. I think there was never any problem. We have firefighters that live in that neighborhood that said that they never had a problem navigating those streets to respond to emergencies. And I can show you the emails that I've received. I'm asking that the city revisit that. MBTA, I think we heard many people mention the MBTA bus. The MBTA, in March of this year, they removed the catenary wirings on the 73 and the 72 bus. The 73 goes to Waverly, the 72 goes to Watertown Square. With the revocation of the wires, it means that right now they're currently using a hybrid diesel-electric bus. But being that as it may, now we can extend that 73 bus up Trapella Road to at least Lexington Street, perhaps even to Smith Street, where there is no public transportation. We pay over $1 million to the MBTA every year, and yet North Waltham is this orphan. Like we don't even matter. In fact, the last bus I think was when Herb Vanessa's father rode for the Met State. Is that correct?
Last time it came out, we used to come out of Waverly Square, go to Turnstile, if anybody's old enough to remember, which is now South Market.
And we all rode it.
The blue bus.
The blue.
The blue bus.
So I'm asking the council and our state representative to support us and get the 73 bus extended. It's a minimal cost. It's maybe $5,000 or $10,000. Just do it. I submitted a request in their proposal during the spring, but it's gone nowhere. I'm asking the mayor, the council, and our state representative to support us to get public transportation for North Waltham. I think it's overdue. We've got people, I see people working at the Meadow Green Nursing Home, low-income people washing dishes, walking on Trapella Road with bags. Why? Because there's no transportation. They can't afford to take the Uber or Lyft. The Mclaughlin Building. I think we should rezone the Mclaughlin Building for either a coffee shop, a restaurant, a dog or cat shelter, or, to my neighbor's recommendation, a community meeting place. It's a beautiful building. It's structurally safe. It needs a roof, and it needs interior work. But I would like to reach out and look at that. Pedestrian lights. The flashing yellow pedestrian lights don't meet it. Barbara spoke about that this evening. We had them installed at Gravison Park. The children come, they press the button, it flashes yellow, the cars don't stop. I was in Lexington on Mass Ave, near their Minuteman Rail Trail. They have a flashing light, they have a pedestrian light, it's red. You press it, it turns red, the cars stop. Cars don't stop when it's flashing yellow. So I'd like that to be revisited. And then, I think that's it for now. The other thing is I submitted a proposal for an agricultural board. We have 5 new farms in Waltham with the UMass Field Station. Thanks to the foresight of the City Council and the Mayor, we have 5 new farms. The UMass Field Station, Arago Farm on Warren Street, Wellington Fields at 735 Trapella Road,